on Cronkite News, activists are taking to the state capitol to shed light on the needs of the refugee community. We'll tell you what they hope to accomplish.
Plus, a local organization is working to fight poverty by providing healthy foods to people in need. Learn how they're working hand in hand with local indigenous food growers.
And later, Governor Doug Ducey gives the wildfire season outlook for 2022, how this year is shaping up and what you can do to take precautions.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News in Arizona PBS. I'm Fatma Abed.
And I'm Raven Payne. Thank you for joining us. On the 36th day of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, advocates and refugees gathered at the state capitol to educate lawmakers about what life is like for refugees coming to Arizona. Cronkite News reporter Nick Shesky tells us about the message advocates had for lawmakers.
Over 4 million people have fled Ukraine since the Russian invasion. While many of them are going to Europe to be close to their families, the U.S. is prepared to take up to 100,000 Ukrainian refugees, many of whom will come to Arizona. Today at the state capitol, a few dozen advocates and refugees gathered to dispel the myths that surround refugees and to discuss some refugee-friendly policies they want lawmakers to consider.
Millions of people are currently displaced from their homes due to humanitarian crises around the world. Nira Sumik, a refugee from Bosnia and Herzegovina and the event organizer, says with all that is going on in the world, now more than ever, refugee voices need to be heard.
Bring refugee advocates, former refugees, faith leaders, and other community organizers to the state capitol to connect with legislators and educate them about refugee and asylum issues.
Arizona resettled 647 refugees in 2021. With the active war in Ukraine and the crisis in Afghanistan, that number in 2022 looks like it will be much higher.
We've received over 2,000 Afghan individuals here in Arizona since the evacuation has happened. In addition to that, yes, the president did raise the refugee admissions cap for Ukrainian refugees.
Some of the refugee-friendly policies advocates wish to see enacted include things like a longer period of time refugees can stay.
Provide more protection for Afghans at risk and to provide a permanent solution for the 70,000 or so people who received humanitarian parole to come here, but they aren't here permanently.
One of the largest topics of conversation today was dispelling the myths that surround refugees.
We are forced to leave our country, our people, our school, jobs, loved ones, member of our families. So we were forced. We were not here for, to have a leisure life or have going for a vacation. We struggled so much to survive our own lives.
Funding to support refugees is also a big topic of concern. Currently, the federal government gives resettlement agencies around $1,200 per refugee for necessities like housing or food during the relocation. In Phoenix, Nick Shesky, Cronkite News.
Now to the latest out of Ukraine, where the country's nuclear power company is saying Russian troops have started to leave the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. They say soldiers who were digging trenches near the site were exposed to, quote, significant doses of radiation. Those troops are believed to be headed toward the border of Belarus. This all comes as fighting continues throughout Ukraine. Russia appears to be regrouping, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says they are preparing for increased offensive efforts from Russia.
President Biden announced today that new efforts to reduce rising gas prices in America will be taken, including releasing the largest amount of oil reserves in history, according to a White House press release. Biden is also calling on congressional and industry leaders to take action.
To help execute this first part of my plan, I'm calling for a use it or lose it policy. Congress should make companies pay fees on wells on federal leases they haven't used in years, and acres of public land they're hoarding without production. Companies that are already producing from these wells won't be affected, but those sitting on unused leases and idle wells will either have to start producing or pay the price for their inaction.
The new use it or lose it policy aims to increase domestic oil production and reduce dependence on foreign oil imports. In the meantime, the White House also called on congressional leaders in a press release to advance clean energy legislation to supplement the country's energy needs.
The BA.2 subvariant of COVID-19 is beginning to spread throughout the United States. Dr. Matthew Binnicker, director of Mayo Clinic's Virology Laboratory, said today that BA.2 has a number of unique mutations that distinguish it from the original Omicron variant.
It's felt that the differences between BA.2 and the original Omicron variant are leading to this virus being able to be transmitted more efficiently, so able to be spread from one person to another more efficiently than prior variants.
Binnicker explained that BA.2 is spreading more efficiently because of its growth advantage, meaning it has a higher transmission rate than other COVID strains. However, while we may see an increase in BA.2 cases within the next 1 or 2 weeks, Binnicker said we shouldn't see a large surge like we experienced earlier this year. Because BA.2 symptoms are so nonspecific, Mayo Clinic's experts are continuing to urge the importance of getting vaccinated and continuing testing.
It seems like everyone has been getting in on the cryptocurrency craze lately. This type of digital currency is slowly transforming a lot of the ways we complete daily tasks. And in one Arizona city, this couldn't be more true. Chandler residents can now pay their utility bills using cryptocurrency. That's right, if you live in Chandler and have Bitcoin or another form of cryptocurrency connected to your PayPal account, you can start paying your utility bills in a whole new way. To start paying utility bills with digital currency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin customers living in Chandler just need to link their cryptocurrency with PayPal. Chandler is one of the first cities in the valley to accept cryptocurrency as a payment option.
A local organization is working together with indigenous food growers to provide nutritious foods to those in need. We'll talk more about Sana Sana Foods after the break.
Your favorite member benefit is getting better and bigger.
This is wonderful.
Over the next year, Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream.
They give us all that they've got.
From your favorite cooking and travel series.
Even the stairs are breathtaking.
To history specials and award-winning documentaries. Better and bigger.
That really is the fun part.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Food deserts affect communities by not having access to healthy food. Either the food locations are too far or too expensive. Cronkite News reporter Reina Preciado tells us how a small business in South Phoenix is changing that and helping families.
We're doing both dry goods.
Preparing fresh food and bagging the items for the South Phoenix community is a monthly routine for Sana Sana Foods.
We use the grains from different indigenous crops that have been here. There are wheat berries and chickpeas as well as tepary beans that have more protein than a regular pinto or black bean that are commonly known.
Maria Paracano started Sana Sana Foods in 2018 to provide healthy, plant-based food options. Sana Sana Foods is helping work toward meeting the goals of the 2025 Phoenix Food Action Plan.
Why isn't there more access to fresh food, to healthy food, instead of cheap and fast food?
In Phoenix, there are 43 food deserts. Many people have to drive more than 1 mile to access fresh food. Sana Sana Foods brings the fresh food bags to the Chicanos por la Causa Community Center in South Phoenix. Once a month, community members come to pick up the bags.
So this site is in a zip code of one of the poorest zip codes in the county. We know that many of the families and the children that we serve go under food insecurities. So it's important that they have access to nutrient-dense foods, not just general food bags.
To create the 2025 Food Action Plan, City of Phoenix officials had to conduct a study.
So with that in mind, we started to look at what would be the challenges and where are the opportunities to create a plan that is really going to make the most difference to those that are most impacted by food insecurity and hunger.
Albright says they heard from the community members most impacted by food insecurity.
As it turns out, folks that are most impacted happen to be women and women of color.
The city provides funds to groups like Sana Sana Foods to connect with the community.
Right now, during these times, food is especially expensive and there is little access to get it fresh.
Avila receives healthy food packages. She says they help not only herself, but she sees how they help others too.
I feel great satisfaction when people come who really need it. When they say, oh, I didn't have eggs or I needed potatoes, and I'm left like, wow. So it's amazing to see how with so little you can make many people happy. You can't imagine the great satisfaction it is to see them smile as they take that bag of food home.
In Phoenix, Raina Preciado, Cronkite News.
The Phoenix Food Action Plan has 5 goals to achieve by 2025, including providing healthy food for all, strengthening the local economy, celebrating local and diverse agriculture, maintaining a sustainable environment, and establishing a resilient food system.
Governor Doug Ducey gave the 2022 wildfire season outlook address this afternoon. And Cronkite News reporter Valeria Rodriguez tells us more about what he plans for this season.
In a short press conference at the state capitol, Governor Doug Ducey and the wildland fire crew talked about the devastating effects of wildfires and what he is planning on to help with those affected. According to the Department of Forestry and Fire Management, in 2021, there were 123 wildfires in Arizona, which burned over 3,000 acres. Governor Ducey noted that an increase in high temperatures and dry vegetation is the fuel for the fires. He also says that he is working with local and state authorities to reduce the wildfires, flooding, and fire risk.
This year, we are going to double down on the Healthy Forest Initiative. Our budget proposes an additional $36 million to fund Phase 2 of our program, bringing the state's total investment for forest treatment to more than $42 million for this fiscal year.
Governor Ducey also stated that he is proud of the men and women who risk their lives due to the Arizona's wildfires year-round. Governor Ducey and local authorities also remind Arizona residents to be vigilant and protect their communities to reduce the number of wildfires. In the newsroom, Valeria Rodriguez, Cronkite News.
Some sunny skies and clear weather out there today, but will it last? Faith Abercrombie has the forecast to carry us into the weekend.
This beautiful weather will last, but it'll only get better as our high temperatures are starting to increase every day. So are our lows. Our average lows are starting to warm up as well. Tonight, it'll be about 58 degrees here in Phoenix as our low. Nothing too chilly, so definitely don't need to bundle up too much. Now, as we take a look into our high temperatures for tomorrow, about 86 degrees as our high here in Phoenix. Similar temperatures around the valley, but as we can see in northern Arizona, about 62 degrees in Flagstaff and 64 in the Grand Canyon, so definitely chillier up there. Now, if you're looking to lay out by the pool tomorrow, get your tan on. Sunburn time is only about 30 minutes, so make sure to lather up that sunscreen. Jumping into our evening planner tonight, around 6 p.m., around sunset, it'll still be around 80 degrees. We'll go into lower 70-degree temperatures, but not approaching those 60 degrees until later into the evening. Taking a look at the rest of our weekend, it'll be 88 degrees on Saturday. Watch out for that UV. Definitely put on that sunscreen. And looking into the beginning of next week, we'll hit those 90 degrees on Tuesday, 93 on Wednesday, going up to 94 on Friday with a little bit of clouds.
Now that is your 8-day forecast from the Weather Center. I'm Faith Abercrombie.
Your Cronkite Sports Report is next. I'm Andrew Kurland, and coming up after the break, a local tennis player files a lawsuit against the USTA, including allegations of sexual assault. That story is next.
What you get from Washington Week that you will not get anywhere else are the best and the brightest reporters from different media companies, and they're able to have a real conversation about things that are happening in Washington and around the country. But it's also a show about issues that are relevant to different communities. How do you think that, as the moderator, I feel this deep responsibility to bring in those other perspectives so that people understand how power and politics impact their daily lives?
Friday nights at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. I'm Andrew Kurland, and this is your Cronkite Sports Report. A local tennis player filed a lawsuit against the United States Tennis Association this week, alleging she was sexually harassed and assaulted while training at a USTA facility in Florida. Much like the suit against USA Gymnastics, this lawsuit looks to hold tennis's governing body responsible for protecting its players. Cronkite News reporter Brianna Isbell has the story.
Valley native Kylie McKenzie was once known as one of America's most promising junior tennis players. This week, accompanied by her lawyer and victim advocate, she took legal action against the organization that recruited her and the person she once considered a role model and guardian.
Kylie was the subject of sexual innuendo and misconduct almost from the day she started training with the USTA.
I was born, raised, and continued to train in the Phoenix area. I started playing tennis when I was just 4 years old and immediately fell in love with the game. When I was 12 years old, the United States Tennis Association recruited me to train full-time at their state-of-the-art training center in California.
McKenzie moved to the USTA facility in Florida, and it was there she claims USTA coach Annabelle Aranda harassed and assaulted her. McKenzie's lawyer says the coach had a history of sexual assault with at least one other woman, but says this information was concealed from McKenzie and her family, making the USTA culpable.
After weeks of harassment and with the confidence that Kylie had been fully groomed, Aranda pounced by violating the most private part of Kylie's body.
I spent most of my time alone in my room just wanting to sleep. I experienced panic attacks at the USTA center when trying to practice, and I had one so severe that a doctor had to be called to the center, who then prescribed me Xanax in the training room.
While navigating the civil suit filed against the United States Tennis Association, Kylie says she's trying her best to stay strong during this time and focus on training and re-strengthening her mental health.
I continue to fully focus on a comeback to the Pro Tour. I know that I am still capable of playing at a very high level and have the same promise I did as a young teen.
In his testimony during an investigation ordered by the USTA, Aranda denied ever touching McKenzie inappropriately. The USTA has since suspended and fired the former tennis coach and is yet to comment on this lawsuit. In Tempe, Brianna Isbell, Cronkite News.
In a battle of the top teams in the West, the Suns defeated the Warriors last night 107-103 in San Francisco. Devin Booker made less than a quarter of his shots. DeAndre Ayton converted on less than 50% on the night. Yet head coach Monty Williams told the team that's not what matters when it comes to winning games.
He thought he didn't play that well because he was 7 for 17, and I only showed him like part of the stat sheet. And then I slid my hand down and showed him where he had 16 rebounds, and he goes, "Oh," I said, "Yeah, that's how you win." Right. So even on nights when you don't shoot the ball well, you can find ways to affect the game.
Now the Suns have are at 62-14 and have clinched the #1 seed in the West. And one more win, they'll set a franchise record for most wins in a season. It's a busy stretch before the playoffs, and they'll play second-seeded Grizzlies tomorrow. Then on April 5th, it's back to Phoenix to take on the Lakers. After that, they're on the road for back-to-back games against the Clippers and Jazz, and will then wrap the season up against the Kings.
We've just been there before. We know the antics. We understand that we do have a target on our backs, being the best team in the NBA. So all that comes with it. But we just, we always preach the wear down effect and just weather the storm. There's going to be runs, and that's when we need each other more. That's when we come together.
Well, even though the Coyotes are eliminated from the playoffs, they did manage to end their 6-game losing streak with a 5-2 win against the Sharks in Glendale last night. But with that win came a big loss for the Coyotes. They lost all-star forward Clayton Keller for the remainder of the season due to a gruesome lower body injury, resulting in him being carried off the ice on a stretcher. Keller underwent successful surgery this morning on his fractured knee and is expected to miss 4 to 6 months, but will make a full recovery.
It's not your best player. He's a human. To see him in pain like that, to see a guy who cares as much as skills, and who he's a huge leader in our team, and he cares a lot, and he competes a lot, and seeing him in pain like that, that is what's hurt.
The Geico High School National Tournament is underway, and AZ Compass Prep is ready to make a championship run. Cronkite News reporter Anya Rogers sees how the boys varsity basketball team is preparing for their competition.
With 8 players going to Division I programs next year, the AZ Compass Prep Dragons are competing in the Geico High School National Tournament as the only team from Arizona.
Just trying to get ready to go to Fort Myers and win 3 games and win a national championship, something that's never been done in the state of Arizona.
Coach Ed Gibson says that the Dragons have really been connecting and vibing, creating their own team culture.
Just as a team, we play defense. We're going to get out on the court. We're going to play hard, play together, play smart.
The Dragons will open at the Geico Nationals against Montverde of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the same team they lost to in the semifinals last year.
It's almost like a little rivalry now because we played them twice last year. We both of them, one game went into overtime, and the other one we lost on a 3-pointer that we missed. So it's going to be a good game. They're a great coach team. They got a lot of former guys that's in the NBA, and we're trying to make a name for ourselves, so it's going to be good.
They have the top players in the class, Tariq and all that. So right now we're trying to work on our defense, make sure we're pressuring the ball, stuff like that, and executing really.
The Dragons started their season ranked #1 in the country and are currently ranked #7, but ready to end #1 at Nationals. In Chandler, Anya Rogers, Cronkite News.
Former Arizona Cardinals head coach Bruce Arians retired from coaching yesterday and will transition to a front office role. The 2012 and 2014 Coach of the Year led the Cardinals to their franchise best record of 13-3, along with the trip to the NFC Championship in 2015. He holds a head coaching record of 80-41-1 in the NFL and won the Super Bowl 55 as head coach of the Buccaneers in 2021. Today is a special anniversary for the U-Arizona men's basketball team. 25 years ago today, they defeated Kentucky to win the 1997 NCAA National Championship, the first and only championship title in the program's history. Well, that'll do it for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Fatma.
Coming up after the break, an opportunity to step back in time and learn more about history. We'll tell you what kind of information from 1950 is set to be released this week.
Your favorite member benefit is getting better and bigger.
This is wonderful.
Over the next year, Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream.
They give us all that they've got.
From your favorite cooking and travel series.
Even the stairs are breathtaking.
To history specials and award-winning documentaries. Better and bigger.
That really is the fun part.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
It's something historians are excited about, and now you may have the opportunity to learn more about your family history. We're talking about U.S. Census Bureau records from the year 1950. Among the information set to be released are people's names, gender, age, addresses, salaries, jobs, and even marital status. All of this data is expected to be released online tomorrow. And the reason why this information is just now being released? Confidentiality concerns. They needed to wait 72 years until doing so.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. For Top Arizona's